disagree with any of the whereas clauses?
Do I disagree with any of the whereas clauses?
Yes.
I disagree with this bill in its entirety.
Specifically?
Specifically, the bill in its entirety.
Ma'am,
And
that's not the question. Do you
That's my
disagree?
answer.
Do you disagree with any of the whereas clauses? At the expense of wasting a little time here, the first clause says, whereas girls who compete in interscholastic athletic activities strive to improve performance in their particular field of competition in order to experience the personal satisfaction of victory, gain opportunities and participate in state and regional events, gain access to opportunities to be recruited and offered athletic scholarships by colleges and more. Do you disagree with that?
I think it's all children, every child, not just girls.
Is this wrong?
Well, I mean, you're excluding boys and agender children and children of different. I don't really know what you're looking for from me. What would you like for me to say? Other than this document, how can I help you understand
Chairman Reagan.
the intent of HB 3?
Ms. Chapman, I've read this bill.
I know you have.
participated in even drafting it.
I know.
I would suggest that what I'm looking for is for you to tell me if any of these whereas clauses are untrue, not that they should have more in it, but are any of these untrue?
It's written in a very poetic way and can be loosely interpreted. I think that allowing boys to compete in girls' athletic competitions discriminates against girls by regularly resulting in boys displacing girls. Is so broad. This is so frustrating. I'm sorry, I can't engage with.
Chairman Reagan.
So you find nothing that you disagree with?
I disagree with everything.
But you had no specifics. I mean, just saying you're against it is one thing, but when you're asked for specifics, you're not giving any?
The intent, what's the intent of this? May I ask?
The intent is specified in the whereas clauses. That is the purpose of those. Those are legislative intent.
Hello, friend. This is your Capitol update for the week of February 14th, 2021. I'm Aaron Snodderly, and I'm coming to you from beautiful, snowy Nashville, Tennessee. This past week, God blessed us with some snow, and we have about 5 to 6 inches on the ground even now. And I love it. As a young person growing up in the South, I promise you, I feel as if I've been deprived of far too many snowstorms. And so I'm thankful that God let me experience this one. I'm thankful for every snowflake that has fallen from the sky. However, as a result of the snow, you can imagine most of the city has been shut down, and pretty much everything that was scheduled to take place this week at the state capitol has either been canceled or postponed until next week. So really nothing has happened. However, there are several things that happened at the end of last week that I'd like to talk to you about briefly. To begin with, the video clip we opened the update with was that of Representative John Reagan questioning a lady concerning her opposition to HB 3. Now, HB 3 is a bill that has been proposed by Representative Sapicki, and it, if passed, would make it illegal for boys, whether they declare themselves to be transgender or not, it would make it illegal for them to participate in girls' athletic competitions across our state. As common sense Christian conservatives, we 100% support this legislation, and we thank Representative Sapicki for sponsoring it. We also thank Representative John Reagan for doing such a good job questioning this lady who opposed it. He did a really good job of exposing the fact that they may oppose the bill, but their opposition is not rooted in any kind of fact or in any kind of principle, really. They just oppose it because as liberals, they think that boys should be allowed to dominate girls' athletic competitions simply because they claim to be transgender. And in the process of questioning her, he revealed that it's not just enough to say you oppose something. You need to have specifics and specific reasons for why you oppose it. And of course, she didn't have any. And so we thank Representative Sapicki and Reagan for sponsoring this legislation and doing such a good job of defending the rights of our young ladies to participate in athletic competitions in a fair manner against girls of their own sex. And so thank you, gentlemen, for doing that. Now, I'd also like to make you aware of the fact that pretty much for the last year, we as lobbyists and even people like yourself have not been able to access our politicians at the state capitol the way we normally can. And that's because of the coronavirus. We understand that. To get into the Capitol grounds, you have to have a meeting with a specific person. And even then, you can only visit that person. You can't go to other floors and visit other politicians. You can only visit the one you're scheduled to be with. However, this past Friday, Speaker of the House, Cameron Sexton, stepped up and said, hey, enough's enough. I'm tired of this. And he said that while we are concerned about the coronavirus, we also believe that the people of Tennessee have the right to meet with their politicians at the state capitol and address the issues that are important to them. And so he removed all restrictions, as far as I can tell, and has now made it possible for lobbyists like myself and even people like you to go in and talk with your state representatives. And we thank Speaker of the House, Cameron Sexton, for doing this. And I ask you to maybe send him a note and thank him yourself as well. Now, before I let you go, I'd like to just mention the passing of Rush Limbaugh. As Christians and conservatives, we may not have agreed with everything Rush Limbaugh said or did or believed throughout the years. But I can promise you that throughout the course of my lifetime anyways, there probably was not a greater, more elegant, well-spoken voice on behalf of Christian values and conservative principles than Rush Limbaugh. And I think it's sad that he has passed, but even more so, I think it's sad that we lost that loud voice for the conservative principles we believe. And so I want to speak to everyone for just a second, but especially the young people. Who's going to fill his shoes? And I know we say to ourselves, that's pretty hard. No one could fill Rush's shoes. But why doesn't somebody try? And if you're a person watching today, especially a young person, your future's at stake, why don't you pray and say, God, here am I, send me, use me. I'll be glad to do whatever you want me to do. And why don't you say, God, if you'll let me, I want to be a voice for conservative Christian values. Now, you may not be able to fill the shoes of Rush Limbaugh. They're pretty big. It'd be pretty near impossible for anyone to accomplish what he has accomplished. But collectively, if we all start speaking our values and letting our opinions be heard, I believe that collectively we can fill those shoes. And so while we miss Rush Limbaugh and we miss what he has meant to conservative values, each and every one of us can be our own Rush and stand up and let our voice be heard for the cause of truth and right. I encourage you to do that this weekend. I encourage you to make a difference for God and country. Thank you so very much for watching, and I pray that God will use each and every one of us to bless America. And thank you for investing in your future through our ministry.